Everything you know is a lie. Well, at least it would be if we allowed one tiny simple math problem to exist. Most people think dividing by zero is just a boring rule your teacher made up to be annoying, but it is actually the only thing stopping the entire universe from collapsing into total nonsense. If we let division by zero happen, I can prove that $1 is actually the same as $100. I can prove that you have 15 heads. I can even prove that you are, mathematically speaking, a carrot. But before we break the universe, we have to look at the suspect. What exactly is zero? To a normal person, zero just means nothing. An empty plate, an empty wallet. But to a mathematician, zero is a superpower with a double identity. First, it's a bodyguard. It holds the empty seats in numbers like 10 or 105 so the other digits stay in the right places. Without zero, 100 becomes 1, and your bank account gets very sad. It's not just nothing, it's specific nothing that gives value to everything else. Second is the border control. Zero is the exact center of the number line. It stands alone as the wall between the positive world and the negative world. It is the only number in existence that has no sign. It isn't positive and it isn't negative either. It is the neutral void. Up to this point, zero seems stable, reliable. But don't let that fool you. Why is dividing by zero so dangerous? To understand the risk, we have to look at what division actually is. Most of us think of math as one-way street, but it's more like a factory with an undo button. Multiplication is the process, division is the reverse. If I multiply 3 by 4, I get 12. If I want to get back where I started, I divide 12 by 4 to get 3. It's a perfect circle. Now let's try that with 0. If I multiply 5 by 0, I get 0. Simple, right? But now let's try to hit the undo button. Let's divide that 0 by 0 to get back to 5. Wait, why does it have to be 5? Couldn't 0 divided by 0 also be 10? Because 10 times 0 is also 0, or a million, because million times 0 is also 0. If the undo button can lead to every number in the universe at the same time, the machine isn't just broken, it ceases to function. In math, an answer must be specific. If the answer is everything, it's not an answer, it's a black hole. Still feels a bit abstract? Let's bring it into the real world with 3 quick examples. First, the party. Imagine you have 12 donuts. If 0 friends shows up, how many donuts does each friend get? The question itself is broken. There is no each. You haven't shared 0 donuts. You have just failed to perform the act of sharing entirely. Second, the speedometer. Speed is distance divided by time. If you drive 60 miles in an hour, your speed is 60 miles per hour. But if you try to drive 60 miles in 0 seconds, you'd have to be at the start and the finish line at the exact same instant. You wouldn't be fast, you would have to teleport. Finally, the bucket. Division asks, how many of this fits into that? If I have 10 pounds bucket, how many 0 pounds will fit inside? 1? A billion. You can keep pouring nothing into the bucket until the end of the time, and you will never fill it up. There is no number big enough to finish the job. So, if 0 causes so much trouble, why did we invite you to the party? Well, for most of the human history, we didn't. Ancient civilizations used numbers to count things: cows, soldiers, coins. Since you could not have 0 cow, they didn't think of 0 as a number. It was just a placeholder, an empty space. It wasn't until the 7th century in India that a brilliant mathematician named Brahmagupta gave 0 its own rights. He defined it as a number, something you could add, subtract, and multiply. He wrote the rules that built modern math, but even he tripped over the last hurdle. Brahmagupta thought 0 divided by 0 was 0. It took centuries for mathematicians to realize that 0 wasn't just a number like the others. It was a rebel. It didn't play by the rules, and when we force it to play by rules, reality breaks. Don't believe me? Let me show you the proof of chaos. This is a real algebraic proof that forces division by 0 to happen. Let's start with two equal variables. A equals b. Multiply both sides by a. We get a squared equals ab. Subtract b square from both sides. We get a square minus b square equals ab minus b square. Now factor them. The left becomes a minus b into a plus b. The right becomes b into a minus b. Here is the illegal move. We divide both sides by a minus b to cancel it out. This leaves us with a plus b equals b. Since a equals b, we can write this as b plus b equals b or 2b equals b. Now divide by b and we get 2 equals 1. This is impossible. Why did it happen? Because back in the middle step, we divided by a minus b. Since a equals b, a minus b is 0. We divided by 0, and in doing so, we destroy the logic of the universe. In mathematics, we don't say dividing by 0 is illegal because we are scared. We call it undefined. It's our way of saying this question doesn't make sense in our language. Math describes reality, but only if we follow the logic. So next time your calculator gives you an error, say thank you. It's just the universe way of keeping 2 from equaling 1 and keeping you from being a cadet. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.